Your title, your salary, your corner office, none of it was ever you. It was always a costume, a temporary stage prop, easily taken away by the whims of the external world. When the axe falls, and it will, your true self remains utterly untouched, if only you understand where to look. Today, we will uncover the ancient Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control, a profound distinction taught by Epictetus that will forever reframe how you perceive external circumstances, especially the sudden, jarring upheaval of losing your career. You will grasp the unshakable truth that your intrinsic worth, your very essence, can never be dictated by an employment contract or an economic downturn. This perspective is a shield. Epictetus, a former slave, understood this better than almost anyone in history. He lived a life where his physical body, his possessions, even his freedom were utterly beyond his control. Yet he taught his students at Nicopolis a radical form of liberation. Imagine a man who, despite having his leg twisted by a master, calmly remarked, "I told you it would break," and it broke. Not with a wail, not with a plea, but with a detached observation, because he had already differentiated his body, an external thing, from his inner will, which remained sovereign. He knew what was his and what was not. He famously declared, "Some things are in our control and others are not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and, in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in a word, whatever are not our own actions." This isn't just an abstract philosophical statement, it is a foundational truth. Epictetus's wisdom isn't merely about enduring physical pain, it extends to every external event that might impact your life. Your job, your professional standing, the company you work for, the economic landscape, all of these fall squarely into the category of things not in our control. They are external, they can be given, and they can be taken away without your direct consent. They are ultimately indifferent to your personal desires. Yet in our modern world, we tie our entire identity, our sense of accomplishment, even our very sense of purpose, to these volatile external markers. Our social circles, our self-narratives, the way we introduce ourselves at gatherings, often begin with our professional title. What happens then? When the market shifts unexpectedly, when corporate restructuring occurs on a grand scale, when the impersonal email arrives informing you that your position has been eliminated. The modern person often feels utterly shattered, as if their very self, their core identity, has been eradicated along with their employment. The rug isn't just pulled out from under their feet, it feels like the ground beneath them has ceased to exist. The connection to a modern situation is stark. Losing a job feels like losing a part of yourself, and understanding Epictetus makes the next section essential to reclaiming that self. Consider Sarah, a marketing executive. For 15 years, her entire self-concept was tightly woven into her professional role. Her identity was Sarah, Senior Marketing Director at Nexus Corp. Her LinkedIn profile, her elaborately designed business cards, her conversation starters at parties, all revolved around this prestigious title. She identified with the company's success, her team's achievements, her department's annual revenue growth. When Nexus Corp, without warning, announced massive layoffs affecting entire divisions, Sarah's world didn't just shift, it imploded. Before encountering the wisdom of Stoicism, she was consumed by a suffocating anxiety that bordered on despair. She felt utterly worthless, a profound failure, her future a gaping, terrifying void. She saw herself as a discarded product, her value having inexplicably expired. She retreated, paralyzed by shame, unable to even articulate who she was without her professional descriptor. The fear was visceral, a constant knot in her stomach, and a deep, burning anger at the perceived injustice simmered perpetually beneath the surface. Every morning was a confrontation with an empty calendar and a mind swirling with self-recrimination and what-ifs. She truly believed herself was her job, but then, through a chance encounter with a podcast, she began to explore Epictetus's brutal clarity. Slowly, painstakingly, She began to apply the dichotomy of control to her situation. She realized that the decision to lay her off was an external event, an indifferent circumstance controlled by Nexus Corp's board, by market forces, by 1,000 economic factors utterly beyond her personal influence. It was something that happened to her, not something she was. What was in her control, her reaction, her attitude, her character in the face of adversity, her choice to learn, to adapt, to define her next steps with intentionality and reason. After embracing this philosophy, Sarah still felt the sting of disappointment, of course. The practical challenges of unemployment were real and undeniable, but the paralyzing shame and existential dread began to dissipate. She began to see herself not as unemployed marketing director, but as Sarah, a resilient individual capable of new challenges, a person with inherent virtues independent of any company's payroll. She shifted her focus from the perceived loss of status and financial security to the immense freedom and opportunity of choosing her next path, guided by her own values. She started networking not with a desperate plea for a new role, but with the quiet confidence of someone exploring new opportunities, someone whose core worth was entirely intact and self-defined. This isn't about ignoring the very real practical difficulties of job loss. It's about preventing the external shock from shattering your internal world, your very sense of who you are. It's about understanding that your true capital, your character, your wisdom, your courage, your integrity, those cannot be taken from you by any external decree. Those are your possessions, your indelible qualities, and they are absolutely immune to any layoff notice, any economic downturn, or any corporate restructuring. This revelation transformed her entire outlook. Now, how do you cultivate this unshakable inner fortress in your daily life, especially when facing career uncertainty, when the very ground feels unstable? Here are 3 concrete Stoic practices for immediate use. First, the daily dichotomy audit. At the beginning of each day, perhaps as you sip your morning coffee or tea, or whenever a wave of anxiety hits you regarding your job or job search, explicitly categorize your thoughts. Mentally, or even on paper, list everything causing you stress about your career situation. Then, next to each item, write internal or external. The layoff itself, external. The recruiter's inexplicable silence, external. Your skill set, your work ethic, your determination to learn new things, your integrity in interviews, internal. The profound goal of this audit is not to ignore the external circumstances, but to shift your focus of effort and worry exclusively to what is internal, what truly belongs to you. You will begin to notice how much precious energy you waste agonizing over things you cannot possibly change, things that are not your own. Redirect that precious internal energy to where it truly makes a difference. Second, the premeditation of adversity, specifically tailored for career. Regularly practice visualizing the worst-case professional scenario, not to wallow in fear or self-pity, but to mentally prepare and inoculate yourself against the shock. Imagine receiving that dreaded layoff notice. Allow yourself to feel the initial shock, the disappointment. Then, systematically walk through how you would respond using your reasoned Stoic principles. Ask yourself, my role has been eliminated. This is an external event. This is indifferent. What is in my power right here, right now? To remain calm, to accept the reality with equanimity, to plan my next steps with reason and diligence, to maintain my integrity in my interactions, to avoid self-pity and resentment, to focus on my virtues and what I can still control. By mentally rehearsing this challenging event, you build mental calluses. When the event actually occurs, it will feel less like a catastrophic, unforeseen surprise and more like a difficult challenge you have already begun to process internally. Your mind will have a pre-programmed, reasoned response rather than defaulting to chaotic panic. Third, virtue as your ultimate job description. When your professional title is stripped away, when the company name is no longer affixed to your identity, what remains? The Stoics would unequivocally say your virtues. Instead of identifying as a project manager or an account executive, identify as a diligent, honest, resilient individual. Instead of a title, define yourself by your character. Each night before sleep, reflect not on your professional achievements or setbacks of the day, but on your virtuous actions. Did you act with courage today, even in the face of daunting uncertainty? Did you apply wisdom in a difficult conversation or a complex problem? Did you maintain justice and fairness in your dealings with others? Did you exercise temperance in your reactions to frustrating news or setbacks? These are your true qualifications, your indelible resume, your unshakable professional capital. These are what make you valuable, not to an employer whose needs constantly change, but to yourself and to the wider world. And no one, no company, no economic force can ever take these away from you. This radical redefinition of your worth, anchored in your character, is your ultimate shield against external blows and the shifting tides of the job market. You are not your job title. You are not your salary. You are not the company you work for. You never were. You are the capacity to choose wisely, to act virtuously, to respond with reason, no matter what happens around you. You are the architect of your inner state, and that architecture is entirely independent of the external structures of the market or corporate hierarchy. When you truly internalize this profound truth, the fear of job loss transforms from a terrifying, identity-shattering void into a specific, manageable challenge. Your identity becomes anchored not in the shifting sands of external circumstance, but in the bedrock of your own character, your own choices, your own rational will. You become someone who can lose everything external and still remain whole, still remain dignified, still remain you in the deepest sense of that word. You realize your worth was never externally given. It was always inherent, always cultivated through your choices, always within your grasp, impervious to any economic storm. This is true, unassailable freedom. Do not mistake the external for the essential. Grasp the profound distinction between what truly belongs to you, your judgments, your character, and your rational will, and what remains indifferent, like your career path, your reputation, or your bank account. The world may shift beneath your feet, industries may rise and fall, but your internal compass, guided by reason and virtue, can remain absolutely steady. Cultivate that inner empire, because when everything else crumbles, it is the only true sovereignty you possess, the only thing that cannot be lost. Keep exploring. There is an even deeper truth awaiting discovery, a profound insight into human nature that will completely redefine your understanding of compassion for yourself and for others.